far do you go to keep them here as regards their contracts? What are they asking for? What are their agents wanting? And some outgrow the club financially.
This boy scores all types of goals and he's had another cracking season. Top goal scorer award at the end of the season for Esposito and a host of other awards as well. Thank God I locked that massive release clause in. Pre-season for season 10 has been manic and loads of bids have been coming in. Everyone's after Carabali and fighting bids off for Rizzo as usual, and Parejo is also a wanted man. Oversight time. The worry about Carabali is I've totally forgotten about his minimum fee release clause for clubs in the Champions League because last season we were in it, so it didn't matter. But this coming season we're not, and you can see the teams that are after him. There's a gap in the staffing. My assistant manager has retired, so the search is on. Speaking of staff, arguably the biggest job offer we've had yet has just came in from Inter, offering us an interview. Not this time. Decision was made on our under-18 team. Provicelli icon Andrea Scinetti has been promoted to the role of under-18 manager. He's going to be in charge of coaching all these guys now. Rumours about Parejo persisted. Benfica had a bid accepted because it hit his release clause, but the absolute legend turned them down and instead signed a new contract with us with a new bumper release clause. Hopefully that will frighten off every team. There was new contracts for Ruti and Yaya, and Yaya's deal included a testimonial this pre-season. What a lad. What a lad. So here we are just about to kick off season 10. The good news is we've brought in some players with another one to come in. The bad news is release clauses have bit us because Diego Carabali has gone to Arsenal. Gutted. They only paid 10 million for him. He's worth at least 4 times that. Now we've had a pretty solid testimonial. In fact, the only game we lost, ironically, was the game for Yaya, his testimonial there. And we did play a few former players in that one. But we start the season off pretty well against Spezia. Then we've got our Conference League qualifier. Looks a pretty tough one. Fenerbahce or Shakhtar. Lazio, Como, Atalanta. Not the easiest start for sure. Ondrej Zednicek, he's going to be a key man this season. And he has got a new role. I have built a new tactic. And it's pretty much centred about him. Because he's that good. Well, he looks it anyway. First game of the season with the new tactic was away at Spezia. Safe to say Esposito enjoyed it. As did new signing Zednicek. Absolutely thumped them 4-0. In the next match, it was even better away at Shakhtar. We beat them 5-0 with Esposito scoring 4 times and Zednicek with 2 assists. The good start kept rolling at home to Lazio as a late corner goal from Esposito again gave us the win. He scored another hat-trick against Sampdoria. His start to the season has been unhinged. He then scored another 2 against Napoli in a game which I cannot believe we lost, and I can't believe we conceded 5. Look at the match stats. They had 7 shots on target and 5 of them went in. Rizzo with a 5.9. His head must have been in the clouds. You can see why I'm raging with the match momentum. We absolutely dominated that match. This guy again. But it does mean the start to the season overall has been pretty spectacular for us. We're sitting 5th in the league with just that 1 defeat, which I'm still raging about. But we've got 14 points and we're 5 off top of the table into Milan. And as for Esposito, his start to the season has been ridiculous. 9 matches in all competitions, 19 goals with an average rating of 8.43. The new tactic was looking good and we'll go through that shortly, but first, there's been some more major news in the transfer market, both good and bad. First of all, the bad news. Marco Moretti has once again left us for English football. He's gone to Norwich City for 32.5 million. Now this one hurts because he went to Bournemouth and he wasn't doing much. We brought him back for a club record 15 million and now he's gone back to the Premier League for 32 and he's not even playing. He's on the bench. Marco, what are you doing? He's a homegrown talent, so we're going to put him back on the shortlist. When it inevitably goes bad, we can get him back. That meant 44 million total transfers out this summer. Not ideal. We've replaced that with 23 million, so we're still keeping a good profit. First player was a free transfer, experienced Carlos Augusto, formerly of Inter Milan. He's going to cover left wing back and also centre back as well, especially handy with our new system. More depth in Bruno Silva, central midfielder from Sporting. We knew about Zednicek, 6.5 million. I think you can agree that's an absolute bargain, especially when you look at his start, where he's got 7 assists already in 8 matches. Ivan Zitti came in from Inter Milan. He's got some good player traits. He can play in a number of positions. And when we lost Moretti and Carabali, we need players in these wide positions. Which brought me to the last signing of the transfer window, Jonathan David. More experience at 33. His physicals are still okay for that age, but also he can play any one of the 4 positions up front. He'll be a useful addition. Most of the time he's going to be coming off the bench because of Ruti Giuliano and Condello, and it was nice to see that he got off to a good start. So gutted to lose our 2 boys, Carabali and Moretti, but to be honest, if we're going to go with this shape, they were going to have to start on the bench anyway because of Condello and Ruti Giuliano, so maybe it's not the worst thing in the world. Now, as far as this shape goes, 3-5-2, it's very similar to what we used in the first season, all the way back in season 1. There is the actual formation we started with. Look at some of them names in that team sheet, and isn't it great to see? Look, Di Marino still in there, Condello, Ruti, Yaya, memories. But back to this tactic. The main reason we got this tactic is to capitalise on Zednicek and Parejo, because they are 2 elite wing backs. Someone's just said they remind them of Dani Alves and Jordi Alba. I'll take that. Or you can even think of Roberto Carlos and Cafu. So this allows them to bomb on, because not only do they have 3 centre-backs behind them, but I'm going to use wide centre-backs, so they're going to cover the area in behind them as well. We've got our 2 holding midfielders, which is perfect for Yaya and Sulaj, and then we've got the 3-pronged attack up front, which is already working great, because we've seen Esposito's goal return, but also Condello as well. Now he's got himself fit, has 5 assists already. It also might be handy just to give Di Marino a few extra years, because 33 now, so now he's in a back 3, but his physicals are dropping into single figures. He's a bit of a worry, but he's going to be helped out with a new centre-back, which I forgot to show you. 2.5 million from Rojas, and check out his valuation. Boom. There he is, 2.5 million from Ecuador, 14 caps already. As soon as he signed for us, his value went up 44 to 59 million. He's not the biggest centre-back at 6 foot, but he's got everything going for him. Potential to be an absolute worldie. He does have a minimum free release clause, but I made it absolutely massive at 54 million. But his defensive attributes are already fantastic. Positioning's great. Even his concentration's good. His bravery. If he needs anything, it's probably just to get him a little bit better on the ball, which, funnily enough, is one of the recommendations from my team. They recommend setting him up on ball control training, and I'll accept that one, absolutely. So the squad's quite sizable, because remember, we do have extra competitions in the Conference League this year, which we've started well in, and Serie A started well as well. As far as those youth players go, they are away getting trained up now. We'll leave them be. We'll get back to them in a few episodes' time to check out on their progress. But the 3-4-3 is not faultless. Take, for example, this game against Como. In the first half, we really struggled and went behind to a route 1 ball. And we were playing awful. Then I changed it up, and there was nearly an instant response, which is why we've still got 2 tactics in our slots. We've got the new one, and we've got Old Faithful, and that's what I switched to for the second half of that game against Como. And that's a good lesson to still be adaptable, even if you've got yourself a new good formation, because the first half we were nowhere. Switched to the 4-2-4. Look at the difference. So I'm positive and optimistic about this season, with a pre-season prediction of 9th. That's probably the best they've given us since we've been in Serie A. We've had a really good start, and we're sitting in 5th. Let's see how we do. And if he carries on like this, he's going to end up with 50 goals.